each time we've come down to the zone, Krisha, to the bottom of the 4-day stochastics, we have seen at the very least a nice strong bounce, a good 30% move, if not even a longer move to like 100% move.
Hey guys, Krisha here. Please be cautious of any fake comments and emails you may receive from people pretending to be Mango Research. Sean and I will never, ever contact you for investment opportunities or anything of that sort. To get in touch with the real Mango team, make sure to join our official Discord chat using the link in the description below. Stay safe out there, and remember, do it Mango. And what's up, you guys? Welcome to the Mango Grove. My name is Krisha, and this is today's Bitcoin and XRP analysis video. I have Sean with me today. Sean, say hi.
Good morning, everyone, and God, it's good to be back.
Yeah, you have been missed. I really missed the conversations, by the way. And I'm sure many of you out there also missed our conversations at Mango. Mango's two of us now, Sean, you know? And it makes it fun for us as well, right? Or is it just like, am I the only one feeling that?
No. This has always been the goal for Mango, right? Ever since I started this channel and the community, I said how the reason this isn't named Sean Trading Channel or something like that was because it was supposed to be about the community. Today it's me and you. In the future it's going to be me, you, plus someone else.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be you and someone else alone while I'm relaxing on a beach, right? It's going to be about the community. So, hey, it's moving in that direction. I'm really, really happy about that.
Yeah, it is. Now, on today's agenda, of course, we'll first be talking about Bitcoin. Also, actually, no, we're going to be starting off with the FOMC meeting. I believe there was an FOMC meeting yesterday. Right? So we'll be bringing that up because, of course, you guys know the Fed's tweaking of the system will also play into Bitcoin. So we'll be talking about that very, very briefly. As you can see here, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, right? So yeah, I mean, there was some interesting things that were said here, but he was leaning dovish, in my opinion.
Extremely dovish. I think he did a good job, again, in my opinion. A lot of people have been talking about how inflation has been running hot. The last read that came in was around 5.1% or 5.2%, something higher than people expected, considering that the month prior was 4.9%. And the big talk on that month was, hey, this is just transitionary, we're going to be coming down in the months leading to it, right? But we came up higher at 5.1. So now the scare of inflation running really, really hot has been on everyone's mind. And Jay Powell did come out and say, yes, inflation is higher than our target. He has acknowledged that. And if you guys do remember from a month or so ago, I explained in very, very simple Mango terms the goals that the Fed has, right? The mandate, their mission. Their mission is twofold. Okay, it's very, very, very simple, but hard to execute, of course, especially in this kind of environment. The mission is to, 1, keep inflation in check, 2, to keep employment in check as well. So they want people to be employed, they want people to have a good, healthy work environment so that money keeps coming into their lives so that the economy can keep running, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, inflation needs to be kept in check as well. However, there are times, especially in our current times, where you can't have both at the same time. It's really hard to execute on both because you need to stimulate the economy to be able to facilitate job growth.
Yeah.
Right? But in an effort to stimulate an economy when things are dire, you need a lot of money printing, and that leads to inflation. And also, inflation also can stem from things like supply blockages, supply bottlenecks, etc., etc. So a lot of issues that could lead to inflation, even though stimulus is needed, right, to facilitate job growth. So people are wondering, is the Fed going to start tapering? Because inflation is running hot now, and he's acknowledging that. If the Fed does start tapering, Krisha, the markets are going to take a downturn, right? Because interest rates are going to go up. That's not the best environment for growth stocks. For we talk about all of this for essentially a risk environment, right? It's not the best for a risk environment, but Jay Powell came out and said yesterday very, very clearly over and over and over again that he is prioritizing the employment side of things over here. Because remember, he has two mandates: inflation, keep inflation check, and keep employment in check. And he said that there are ways to go, a long runway before they meet the expectations for where they want employment to be at, right? Thus sending the message out to everyone that they are not looking to taper at all right now. He specifically said that they are going to continue their bond purchase programs and their mortgage-backed security programs as well. And also he mentioned, or rather he stated, that he does not believe that him facilitating, or the Fed facilitating the mortgage buying program is causing the housing market to have its boom at the moment. So basically a very strong undertone of saying, hey, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, which is being dovish, which essentially means we're going to keep our stimulus going.
Pretty much. And that means positive things for the markets in general. Now, let's go and take a look at Bitcoin and see what Bitcoin is up to after
the wake of...
after this meeting. I don't think much really happened after the meeting in terms of traditional, like I was looking at the bonds as well as SPY and NASDAQ. I mean, they're all still looking relatively good. Don't get me wrong, especially the indexes. As far as the bonds are concerned, there's not much movement on the 10 years or the 30 years for today. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, guys, Bitcoin on the weekly, now this is something that I brought up yesterday, Sean, was the fact that we are currently hovering over that 21 EMA, the weekly 21 EMA, and we usually look at the weekly 21 as giving us our first tip on a trend tilt.
Yeah.
Right? It's once we lost the 21 right here, I'm like, okay, you know what? Things are beginning to start looking bearish. Yep. Right? And this is where prudence is going to count. Prudence is going to be necessary. I still remember calling a bear market when we lost the weekly 21 EMA, and I got railed on by a lot of the altcoin moon boys and moon girls. So, but anywho, we're going to be keeping a keen eye out on the weekly 21 EMA. As soon as we start taking back the 21.
I have to interject over there, Krisha. It's funny because we call a bear market, or we call hey, things are looking bad at the very least, right? We get railed on, and when we say, hey, we're at support now, okay, let's not get too bearish, we get railed on anyways. So you can almost use the market sentiment as a gauge as to whether we have some more pain to come, or whether we are likely going to see a bounce or a short squeeze. And you were getting a lot of hate over here when you said, hey, things are not looking good, right? Because we lost the 21 EMA. And around this zone over here, because we kept holding that green box territory, we're like, hey, we can't get too bearish until we actually lose this area, right? And I got a lot of hate on that on the YouTube comments. And what do you know, Krisha? It ended up being the short squeeze we were looking for. Massive bounce, sitting at 40,000 now.
Yeah, so what I'll be looking for, honestly, Sean, is that if we manage to take out the 21 on the next close, I think we might just get that next move up to the Tenkin, which also lines up with the breakdown point, right? That comes in, so the Tenkin comes in, guys, at around 46.8k-ish, but I'll be gunning more for a zone as opposed to just that one sort of line of resistance overhead. I believe the zone would come in from about around 48k going all the way down to that 46k. All right, the 48k, you guys know where I'm getting that from. I have been harping on about this level. Essentially was 47.5 going all the way up to 48k. Now that was essentially the breakdown point, because this put in a beautiful bearish head and shoulders pattern, right? To which, if I just go ahead, mark out that neckline, that right here is the breakdown point. Like smack on there. So I'll be gunning for that. That's going to be the zone that I look for. It's only once Bitcoin honestly starts living over that region on the weekly time frame. So I will be looking for those candle body closes on the weekly for me to start even tilting bullish. But for now, can we agree that we're just looking to play the ranges here?
Yep, exactly. Not looking to get too aggressive on either side at the moment, right? Play the ranges, the easy trades, the mango trades. Don't get caught into wanting to chase trades either, because there's going to be opportunity. Like, even if you miss a massive move towards the upside, they're more likely than not you're going to get if it keeps going, right, you're going to get a really good opportunity to short the top of the range. And if you're at the middle of the range, wait for the pullback to be able to buy the high low towards the bottom of the range.
Yeah. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity, not just on Bitcoin, guys, but also on the alts. Sean, is there any other time frame that you're looking at as far as levels or other things are concerned?
Yeah, well, okay. So essentially, if all of you who have been watching now for the past like month and a half to 2 months, you guys will see that I literally had one overarching plan and I played it to the T. I stuck to that plan, even though it was long and drawn out. I stuck to a plan, right? And essentially all stemmed from the 4-day time frame in conjunction with the weekly time frame, of course. But let's go on over to the 4-day time frame. One of the things that I was harping about when we had come down initially to this region was the 4-day stochastics, and I was talking about how, hey, each time that we have come down to this zone over here, we do eventually see a really nice bounce before we see further continuation. Now I don't say that we will definitely see for continuation towards the downside. What I meant was that each time historically too, let me just go ahead and hide the RSI for a little bit. Each time we've come down to the zone, Krisha, to the bottom of the 4-day stochastics, we have seen at the very least a nice strong bounce, a good 30% move, if not even a longer move to like 100% move, right? So over here we saw it, over here we saw it, so we caught this move, right? It took some time. Each one of these, they took weeks to play out, right? Over here too, it caught the bottom of the 3K, right? Right over there. So we went over this over and over again. This was only one component of our thesis. Another component was essentially the 4-day dynamic as well. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up right over here. And now this trade has essentially been played out. So I was looking for the trade over here, right? This time around, when we broke back into the cloud over here, we didn't get it. We broke back underneath, right? At that point, you just get invalidated on your trade and you look for the next opportunity. Now, again, you have to put everything into Confluence to even trigger the trade. Over here, we had the perfect setup because we had the falling channel on our lower time frames, the 4-hour falling channel with our 4-day back close into the cloud, right? So the 4-hour channel broke back into the cloud, giving us that edge-to-edge trade, along with the 4-day stochastics lining up with that, along with the weekly as well, giving us our move all the way to the top of its weekly cloud. Now, however, I'm not interested in taking any big trades at the very least. I'll be taking short-term trades if I do see the opportunity. Why? Because we are again at the top of the cloud. Resistance on the weekly, resistance on the 4-day. More importantly, Kusha, we're going to see a TK test right over here, and there's no reason to get too aggressive on this, right? Just wait for this to be reclaimed, wait for the Kijun and the Tenkin to be reclaimed. If we do see that, we're going to see the Tenkin and Kijun recross bullish, because this is a bearish cross at the moment, and the bulls are just retesting that. That being said, we do have the 4-day 21 EMA reclaimed, at least temporarily. If we do start seeing price hover over the top of the cloud over here at around 45,000, we do have a chance of seeing the Tenkin and the Kijun cross bullish again, with the 21 EMA beginning to angle towards the upside, along with that cross of the TK, the TK bull cross, and that, Krisha, is going to be an extremely strong signal. At that point, if we start living in this zone over here, above 51k, above 52,000, I'd be looking towards 100,000. Right? Because we're going to have a strong bullish TK cross, double TK cross above the cloud on the 4-day time frame, along with the 4-day 21 EMA living above the cloud, along with price also living above the cloud, and the 4-day dynamic at that point is also probably going to be coming back into equilibrium, switching green. We're going to see everything come into confluence. We're seeing the buy op now start angling towards the upside as well. But I'm thinking now, weeks and weeks ahead, right? Again, now for the next big trade is going to be weeks and weeks ahead. This was that big trade that we took. It took a while for it to play out, right? We had to be patient, we had to be diligent, we had to take our losses when it did come, but now on over to the next big trade.
All right, so I think we can both agree that Bitcoin is in a squeeze-like situation right now, because we have resistance immediately up over us, as well as we have support right underneath price. And you can see that just simply on the 4-hour time, on the 4-day time frame, apologies, and not just the 4-day, guys. This is also true for some of the lower time frames. So now we're seeing on the 4-day, at the very least, we have the Tenkin resistance overhead, as well as cloud resistance overhead, and not just that, underlining support is that 21 EMA. And while this is only the 4-day time frame, notice how even on the weekly time frame, guys, we have the weekly 21 EMA as support there as well. Now, this is something that Core brought up in the Mango C chat, that if you get on over to a 12-hour time frame, let's put on, so we have the cloud already, but let's also go ahead and put on our 200 simple as well as 200 exponential.
Oh,
And
so
look at
classic.
that, right? So it's I'm not going to say tricky. It's not tricky. It's just a game of patience right now.
This is signature. This is particular. This is almost as though it's algo driven right here, because I've seen this happen so many times. This exact pattern where on the first test, Krisha, of the 200 moving average, you get rejected and close underneath the 200 exponential, and then the second test you barely close above. But if the slope of the 200 moving average is still towards the downside, you end up losing it on the next candle, and then you start seeing the consolidation and the squeeze.
Right. And that's pretty much what we're seeing here. So I think the next big trade is going to be a waiting game. I think Sean is completely right on that. So don't feel like don't feel this need to be constantly in a trade. All right, wait for that direction cue to be given to you, and then, you know, jump in when the opportunity presents itself. Your only job here is to preserve your soldiers, like Sean would like to put it, right?
It's really tricky here, Krisha. You're completely right, because if you look at the daily too, right? I'm gonna go ahead and turn out the daily Ichimoku. You're going to see right over here, we've closed within the cloud, right? And we tested today at the bottom, this morning actually, we tested the bottom of the cloud and immediately got picked up. This is going to get a lot of people wanting to get in on this trade, because it's a nice, beautiful edge-to-edge trade leading all the way to that $47,000 region over here. However, personally, me, as tempting as this is, I am not in the trade. Why? Because I'm sticking to my long-term goal. This is really tempting. Okay, this is really tempting. But at the moment, I'm only willing to take short-term trades on the 4-hour time frame, and longer term trades on the 4-day and the weekly time frame. Why? Because, and this might be a little bit confusing for you guys, but essentially what I'm saying is, or rather what I'm telling myself is, hey Sean, if we're going to take a trade that is going against your resistance levels, because remember I pointed out to you guys that we have 4-day resistance overhead that I don't want to play against. We have weekly resistance overhead on the weekly 21 EMA, because Krisha, we haven't closed above this just yet. Right, so this is, to me, is still resistance. Okay, we also have weekly dynamic resistance, just to go over it again. Okay, so I don't want to play against this, but at the same time I'm seeing that, hey, the daily, because remember guys, our initial big trade, okay, I kept bringing this up to you guys over and over again. Daily has been being held down by the dynamic. Daily has been held down by the dynamic. As soon as we see 2 daily closes above the dynamic, that's going to be the big trade towards the upside. That's played out now, in my opinion, because we already had the move to the 4-day. Now, however, the daily is giving us another signal, because we have the edge-to-edge trade. Okay, so now we have two conflicting things, Krisha. This is where people, this is a bit educational for you guys. How do you manage this? So one, just decide to stay out of the trade until everything comes to confluence. Don't get greedy. 2, you can say, hey, I can play the short-term trades on the 4-hour, etc., right, and get out quickly, because I don't want the 4-day to come and smack me down when it's time for the 4-day to show its resistance, right? So essentially, Krisha, all that to say, I am waiting on the 4-day to actually claim its levels before I get too aggressive for that big move on the daily edge-to-edge trade.
All right, fair enough. And I think that's the more prudent play, if I have to be honest. I think it's a squeeze right now. But just quickly getting on over to the 4-hour to see if this could be giving us any sort of tips, right? Getting on to, well, the rest of the day. So we're currently trending on the 4-hour time frame. I think everyone can agree with that, right? So as far as price goes, you know what? This may actually be a descending triangle here, but we'll still have to wait and watch. This wick low took out everything else, so that's something to note. I'll once again, honestly, guys, this is something else that I brought up yesterday, right? I'll be gunning for the 21 EMA. We start losing the 21 EMA to the downside. I'm saying that this goes down further.
To the Kijun.
Yeah, exactly. Might see that very clear C-span trade down to the Kijun, which comes in at around $35,000. And notice how that, Sean, is also lining up with the Kumo twist right here on the 4-hour time frame.
Yeah.
So these are little sort of signatures to keep, to keep your eyes peeled on.
Is that Kumo twist coming in at around 32,000?
32,000.
Okay, that's a level I'm looking to long. If you go on to your weekly, Krisha, clear out everything. I think that's the Kijun as well, eh? Okay, interesting. So I'm looking at this wick over here. We've already tested once. Oh, that's coming in at 36,000.
I think 32,000 would be the green box territory, no?
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's the midpoint or the top of the box. So place it on the midpoint, and there you have it.
Okay, it's the midpoint.
It's the midpoint.
Yeah.
So we may just get that, and I think that's going to be the rejection that the bears look for. But so far, I think the 4 hour is going to be a first tip on where that trend is leading.
I'm looking for that. I'm looking to long that. If you do come down, it lines up now. It lines up with a lot more. Okay.
Right.
I like that.
What are your thoughts? This is the 1 hour time frame. We don't really.
Krisha, I'm just not too keen on. Honestly, I'm not too keen on us breaking towards the upside over here. If we do, it's very easy to trade it on the 4-day time frame, etc. Right? But I want to see those higher time frames break. I'm just not too keen on it happening right now. If it does happen, I'll be happy. I'm a Bitcoin bull, and the reason I can let that go, I can let this trade go, and you guys who also capitalize on the big trade towards the upside thus far, you guys can take solace in the fact that your profits, likely if you're trading on any of the major exchanges, your profits have been in Bitcoin, right? If you're like, they are collateralized in Bitcoin. So you've taken your profit in Bitcoin. Now as Bitcoin keeps going up in price, you are taking part in that move anyways. So as Bitcoin keeps going up, I don't feel bad about, hey, I'm missing out on any gains, because the Bitcoin profits I've gained is going up as well.
That's true. Because guys, what you'll all need to understand is that Bitcoin in itself is a trade.
Exactly.
All right. When we're moving up, when the market's moving up, and especially with Bitcoin being the market leader, Bitcoin moving up is good for you, especially if all your trades are settled in Bitcoin, right? So it's okay. It's okay to not be in a trade, and if you have Bitcoin, you're already in a trade, even if it means spot Bitcoin.
I think Pusha put it very succinctly for us over there, in that you are already in a trade if you are holding Bitcoin. Don't get greedy and put on a margin trade against higher time frame resistance. We were saying the same thing when we were against support at the bottom of this range. Now we're at the top of the range. Right. Be careful.
Right, these are all minor moves. Don't be losing your soldiers on minor moves for no reason. Right, so now this is what Bitcoin is doing. I think you guys pretty much have our thoughts as far as, do you just want to go over quick targets? That way they have something to chew on. And also I get to add it into my timestamps. But okay, so say Bitcoin actually starts breaking its levels to the upside, right? The levels that we just went over. Now remember what we have as far as support and resistance is concerned. I think the major support that we have underneath us will come in at around 39,500-ish. Okay, that is the major support that we're looking for. In order for us to anticipate any further continuation to the downside, I'll be looking for Bitcoin to lose that level, which also lines up with the daily cloud level. Okay, we start losing that, then I'm saying further down to the first top is going to come in at around 37.4K, down to this region right here at around $35,000. Sean?
Yeah,
what are your targets on the as far as support is concerned?
I really like what you pointed out to us on the 4-hour time frame, Krisha. That's lining up with almost everything we're seeing over here on the daily as well as the weekly and the 4-day. There's so much confluence on just that idea that if we lose that 4-hour 21 EMA, we're going to end up probably losing the low of today's candle, right? And likely take out the low of yesterday's candle. If we start doing that, this is likely going to make its way down to the daily 21 EMA and Tenkin and Kijun, Krisha. This juncture over here is all the way down at around $35,000, right? I wouldn't be too surprised to see a aggressive move, surprising all the over leveraged bulls now, right? Wicking down on this would be just a gift, in my opinion, if Bitcoin is to actually put in that longer term consolidation where we do something like this, putting in a higher low here and go towards the upside. Then in that situation, this is a gift that is easily tradable, because if you're invalidated, we take the loss underneath the green box territory and then look for further downside. But if we do get a higher low opportunity to trade a trend trade now, because now you can look for that. Now you can look for that higher low trend trade towards the upside. In that case, we can do something like this.
Yeah. So these are, at least to the downside, this is the most immediate target that we're looking at, $35,000. That's contingent on us actually losing $39,000 to the downside. As far as upside targets are concerned, keep it simple, right? We start living over this 41.3K region. I'm saying first target goes it's going to be a nice clean edge to edge on the daily cloud, all the way back up to 46K. But honestly, Sean, we get up to 46K. I won't be surprised if we start testing the breakdown point of
48K.
48K.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, so keep your eyes, it's going to be easy, all right? You just have to have patience on this. Pick a side. So yeah, this is what Bitcoin is up to. And now are you ready to get on over to the altcoin of the day, Sean?
Let's do it.
All right, so XRP XRP fanboys and fangirls, you have won today's vote. Now, guys, do not forget, if you want us to cover any of the altcoins that you are looking at, take this time to get down to the comments section and tell us which altcoin you want us to cover. The popular vote wins. Today, XCH, I think Chia, is that how you even say it? I've never looked at this chart, but that one also came very, very close to winning. So it doesn't matter whether the coin you're looking at is a no-name coin. Actually, I don't want to say no-name, it just sounds bad. But it's a coin that not everyone is looking at. It's not a popular coin. Still, take this time to go to the comment section and vote, because there's a good chance that actually might just win. Okay?
You'd be surprised.
And hey, if you're enjoying Mango's content so far, do not forget to smash those likes. It helps us out tremendously. Now, getting on over to the chart. XRP. Alrighty. Let's go ahead. Binance, should we do on Binance? Yeah, why the hell not? We have already dissected this chart, Sean. Okay, let's just get rid of.
Look at that Tenkin 21 EMA lining up. So do you remember, Kusha, when we talked about the chart, we were talking about how perfectly we were respecting the 21 EMA and Tenkin. Okay, it was perfect. Okay, over and over and over again. And then we talked about how the easy trade on this for this falling channel, right? I remember specifically saying that this falling channel is not the prettiest of falling channels. People are going to come at me for calling this falling channel, but it's the psychology of what's happening over here. The easiest trade would be that once we actually reclaim that 21 EMA and Tenkin, you're going to have the break of the falling channel. It's exactly what we saw over here, and this is how easy you guys can keep your trades, right? You keep shorting the 21 EMA Tenkin, 21 EMA Tenkin, you keep playing that downtrend, okay? And then when it reverses, you play the other side, and you can take confidence in the fact that there are going to be other traders who are doing the same thing. They all are going to be reversing their positions, and the traders who are in profits from all the way around here, they are going to be getting out of their trend trades around here, Krisha. And you see this wick over here. That's essentially traders getting out of trades. Right, that's what you're seeing over here. So yeah, the downtrend is essentially reversed, but we haven't started an official structural uptrend yet.
No, I think you're right there, Sean. I think we've yet to sort of get that structure, and so we will be looking for that bullish structure to be set. And remember what we're looking for, guys. We're looking for a series of higher lows, higher highs. So wait for that. Wait for the structure to come in, and only then really does start tilting bullish.
Yeah.
But what I really like about this so far is I just want to do one small thing to see where we are, and look at that. It's so neat.
Yeah,
just yesterday I was having a conversation with someone in the Grove chat, and we were talking about XRP, and I'm noticing that XRP has been trending now, right? It's the talk of the town as far as the altcoins are concerned.
Is there some news event or something coming up that people are excited about?
I know there's a fundamental piece, but forget the fundamentals. Fundamentals are for the hodlers. That's what I like to say. Unless the fundamentals are bullish enough to move price right now. Okay, so I think XRP on a technical standpoint, I really like trading XRP. I think it's a very, very neat chart, especially on its ranges. Yes, it gets volatile, but I feel like it's very generous when it does break its levels either to the upside or to the downside, giving people ample time to either get into a trade or get out, right, of their positions. And now take this for example. Now we have a zone drawn out here from I don't know how many weeks ago, and I just took the midpoint, Sean. Look at how well that midpoint lines up with historic price action, right? And we can see that price has plunged through the midpoint, so we're currently using it as support, in fact. And let's keep this very simple. As soon as price starts living underneath this region of support, which comes in at around 70 cents, only then will I really be looking for another deeper retest for XRP, which pretty much comes in once again at, I'll say 65 cents. Okay, I think that's going to be the first retest of 65 cents. However, if we start seeing multiple candle body closes over the 70 cent region, then I'm saying further up we go, likely going to give the Kijun an official test, which comes in at around 80 cents. So from where price is at right now, even to 80 cents, that's going to be a good 13% to the upside. Yeah. Those are not going to be ordinary moves. I think that's good. There's good ranges to be able to capitalize on, especially when markets are in a... when markets are pretty much in no man's land.
Yep.
Right.
I was meaning to ask you, but I didn't want to interject. Since you are the pattern queen over here, would you look at this as a structural bottom right over here? Some sort of like Adam and Eve. We could go ahead and maybe even have some fun with this and say, hey, you have a measured move from somewhere around here to here. The red line being your neckline, which is essentially the middle of the range too, right? So that would take us to the cloud over here, right? Which would be the middle of this range over here now, because we do have a middle of the range over here coming in over here. Okay, so we have a lot of confluence on this pattern beginning to put in a trend. And from my experience trading XRP, it can surprise you, right? It can surprise you, and we may not get that move down to retest the 21 EMA and the Tenkin by losing this horizontal over here. So I'd adjust this a tad bit, and as long as we hold this at around 72 cents, Krisha, there's another okay, this would line up with even Bitcoin likely
breaking to the upside.
Yeah, and
right?
yeah,
it would.
Yep.
And I think that's it's lining up really
because
really
this
well.
falling channel was pretty aggressive, and then we put in the perfect thing. Guys, do you remember how I was talking about that falling channel pattern on Bitcoin, where you have this and blah blah blah? I went over and over again for like multiple days, multiple weeks actually, and we finally saw it play out, right? This is another pattern that you guys should keep an eye on, where we see a falling channel, yes, right? But when you come down to the bottom of the channel, you get a W at the bottom of the channel, and that lines up with a horizontal as well usually, and then you break out aggressively, right? That W like structure at the bottom of the channel, making the channel very ugly. So both of these patterns, what you're going to see is that they're not your traditional beautiful falling channels. They're ugly falling channels that have a psychological play in them, within them.
Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled on this, and I think this is a plausible thing, Sean. The W-like formation that you just spotted out. Good job on that. And what I really like though that you had mentioned was that it actually probably lines up with the midpoint here.
There you go.
There you go.
There
like
you
on
go.
The T,
On the
like
T.
on the dot, guys. On the dot, it lines up with the midpoint there. The measured move lines up with the midpoint. That comes in at around 90 cents, give or take. From where price is at, this starts breaking up to 90 cents. That's a good 27% to the upside. But guys, let's not forget, this is all contingent on us actually holding that neckline. Okay, 70 cents. Keep your eyes peeled on how we react off of 70 cents, even on those most immediate time frames, like the 4-hour time frame. Like, look at that. That's not something you want to see on the lower time frames, right? We've lost the 70-cent region, and we're currently holding it as overhead resistance. So we start seeing multiple closes underneath 70 cents. That is going to be a tip off that maybe we're not getting that break anytime soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
People want to like, hey, tell us what it's going to do, man. Don't tell us what it's going to do if this happens or if that happens. Hey, man, we wish we could tell you guys what's going to happen in the future, but we're not oracles. You're going to have to go to the Matrix to find the oracle. Unfortunately, this is how we do it at Mango. This is the most risk mitigating way to trade, right? Always have a way to tell yourself when you're going to be wrong, and we're not trying to be right over here.
Yeah.
We tell you probabilities.
Yeah, so that's how we break it down. We use all these multi-time frame tools to help us break down price to, give us a gauge on what we're going to do leading up to the rest of the day. Now, this is what XRP is up to. You guys pretty much have our targets on this chart. And Sean, any final thoughts?
Nope. I think we covered it all and then some.
Cool beans. Now, guys, with this, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the Mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao.
Ciao.